Hi, I was the early version of Kris Vallotton. Before the School of Supernatural Ministry, before the global platform, and decades before the modern prophetic movement took over the charismatic and NAR, New Apostolic Reformation, I was living that life. I was buying what Kris now is selling. And for those of you who aren't familiar with who Kris is, he's kind of a heavyweight in the modern charismatic New Apostolic Reformation world. He's essentially the face of modern prophecy, teaching thousands how to be a prophet and how to tune into supernatural talk and supernatural visions, much like the famous 30-minute vision he often describes from his own life.
You are going to be a prophet to the nation.
I know exactly what Kris is selling because I bought it. In 1972, a prophetess told me that I would be a prophet to the nations, just like he had a vision of Jesus telling him that he was going to be a prophet to the nations. I believed it. Okay, she was the quintessential flower girl. In a long, billowing dress, she looked and acted like a typical 1960s Christian flower child. She oozed an aura that felt supernatural. The words she spoke sounded exactly like the grand calling that Kris describes today.
You will be a prophet to the nations.
Back then, Kris and I would have been two peas in the pod. I practice the same methods he teaches. The idea that we must learn the difference, to differentiate the difference between the Spirit of God and our own spirit. I spent my days divvying out the voices in my head. I would listen and I would dissect, trying to discern which thoughts were from God and which were just me. Some things just sounded more like God, and I looked for those, and like Kris, I knew sometimes I made mistakes. And that was okay. In 1972, I was learning, just like he says he is learning. But it didn't last long. It lasted just over a year for me. While reading the Bible, I was hit with a truth that was tied to the deepest repentance I ever dealt with as a Christian. I realized I wasn't listening to a divine broadcast. I was listening to an echo chamber. I was listening to myself.
I thought I was hearing God. Turns out, I was only hearing myself.
I learned that the overwhelming majority of those voices in my head talking to me, they seemed like God. And I thought they were, but they weren't. They were inside me. So they knew the Bible as far as I knew the Bible. And they usually reasoned well. They seemed to guide me. But their guidance was really no better than the reality TV celebrity who says,
I will trust my intuition.
Jeremiah understood this when the prophet Jeremiah from the Bible, he understood this when he saw the popular prophets of his day. He said they spoke visions of their own minds, of their own hearts, and not from the mouth of the Lord. I experienced this. I spent a year listening to my own heart, thinking God was like a talk show with no off switch. The turning point wasn't finding a better inner voice, it was finally turning off the radio.
There is too much noise on this.
When I stopped generating the noise, God's voice didn't just disappear, it got cleaner, less cluttered. With the static gone, I stopped looking for God to break through. He just did, and he does. On occasion, in ways I don't expect, in ways I don't plan. After all, God's voice is not a treasure we find. It is a treasure that finds us. Please like and subscribe. This is Ted.